Was Jesus inspired by the Hindu god Krishna? Over the years, some mystics and fringe theorists have claimed that the story of Jesus was not original at all, but rather a retelling of an older myth, the legend of Krishna, the beloved deity from Hindu tradition. They point to a long list of supposed similarities. Krishna was said to be born of a virgin on December 25th. His arrival was marked by a bright star in the eastern sky. Angels and shepherds, or in his case, cowherds, gathered around him, offering gifts. A cruel king tried to kill him by ordering the massacre of innocent children. He performed miracles, walked on water, healed the sick, and raised the dead. He taught using parables and metaphors, challenged corrupt priests, and was followed by a devoted disciple, whose name, they say, is a linguistic match for John. He died young, rose to the heavens, and is prophesied to return on a white horse to destroy evil. Some even claim he was crucified between two thieves, was called the Lion of a noble tribe, and was part of a divine trinity. Sounds uncanny, right? But let's slow down and examine the facts, because when we dig deeper, most of these parallels fall apart under scrutiny. To begin with, Krishna was not born on December 25th. Hindu texts place his birth during a summer festival called Janmashtami, celebrated in the month of August. Also, the idea of a virgin birth doesn't apply here. His mother, Devaki, had several children before Krishna. While the conception may have been divine, it was not described as virginal in the Christian sense. As for the star and the angels, there's no ancient Hindu record of a celestial sign marking his birth. The cowherds who surrounded Krishna were not there as witnesses of divinity, but as companions in his childhood. More folklore than prophecy. No frankincense, no myrrh, just flower offerings from the heavens. Now, it's true that an evil king named Kamsa tried to kill Krishna by ordering the deaths of newborns. But this theme, a tyrant threatened by a child, can be found in many mythologies. It doesn't automatically imply plagiarism. And what about the serpent? Yes, Krishna danced on the head of a multi-headed serpent named Kaliya. But this wasn't a symbolic gesture. It was a mythic battle. Jesus, in contrast, is never depicted doing anything similar. The imagery of Jesus crushing the serpent is metaphorical and developed much later in Christian iconography. Krishna worked miracles, yes, but so did every major deity in mythological tradition. It's a trait of gods, not a unique fingerprint. Did Krishna teach through parables like Jesus? Not quite. His teachings in the Bhagavad Gita are more philosophical and poetic than story-driven. And while he did confront ritualistic excesses, so did countless spiritual figures across time. The supposed linguistic match between Krishna's disciple and John doesn't exist in credible scholarship. The name John originates from Hebrew, not Sanskrit, and there's no historical link between the two. Krishna didn't die young either. Most traditions describe him living to an old age and departing the world peacefully, with his soul ascending. There's no resurrection in the Christian sense, no empty tomb, no physical return. The image of Krishna riding a white horse comes from a future avatar, Kalki, not from Krishna himself. And while this does resemble Christian apocalyptic imagery, it appears in texts written centuries after Jesus. In fact, many scholars suggest the borrowing, if any, happened in the opposite direction, from Christianity into late Hindu stories. During the early centuries of Christian expansion, apocryphal gospels and stories may have traveled east, influencing Hindu myths. Notably, Krishna's more divine and messianic aspects begin to appear prominently in texts that were composed or compiled after the 2nd century CE. So, was Jesus copied from Krishna? It's an interesting idea, but one built more on modern speculation than historical evidence. The few genuine similarities are either universal mythic patterns or came about long after Jesus lived. The stories may resonate with each other in theme, but not in origin. Sometimes myths reflect one another, not because one stole from the other, but because they arise from the same human longing for light in darkness, for divine love, and for the promise of redemption.